Well, guys, thank you for coming to Poznań to Impact. Really pleasure to have you here on the stage. We would like to talk about sports marketing because we know how we do it in Poland, but we are really curious how you do it on your markets, in your sports as well. So let's start for the questions. Do you consider that sport is a good marketing tool? And if yes, why? Maybe we can start from, I don't know, from Viktor.
Yeah, first of all, good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to be here. I think, yeah, sports marketing is a very big part, but we never should forget that we are a sports club, and handball, in our case, is that what we are for the marketing, and to be then with the partners together to represent, first of all, the sports, but all the values we have, and also with our partners. We are a team sport, and this is also the case what we want to show, that we are always a team, also with our partners.
Justinas.
Hello, everyone. I also want to thank for the opportunity to be here. I believe, you know, the answer to your question belongs on the specifics of the potential sponsor or media buyer itself. But just, to give a brief answer, I think it's a fantastic tool because what sports entities like leagues and clubs have is not only media capabilities and ability to offer direct media like TV advertising or floor advertising, whatever, on a very big, on a very affordable scale and affordable prices, but also the content and emotional attachment itself. So this is what makes us unique. We have this entire package as sports entities to offer the brands. So those brands, by utilizing sports entities, they're able to give their customers or potential clients, potential customers, the opportunity to touch their brand by using sports mechanisms.
And Vladislav, your arguments why sports is a good marketing tool?
Good afternoon, everyone. Just happy to be here, and I have to understand what the guy said. I mean, it's important for us specifically for the hockey club we are from. We are from very specific region, and we offer our partners to be attached to the fans, to create special relationship between the brand and the fans. And yeah, just as I said, I have to just completely agree what the guy said before me.
Okay, I'm really not surprised that three guys who works in sports business says that sport is a good marketing tool, but it was just a warm-up. So let's talk about how do you create value for your partners? What are the best practices you can share with us? So maybe we will start from Vladislav now.
This depends on the partner itself. I mean, there are partners that are interested into marketing activations. For example, we have partner with restaurant, and he's interested into doing fun activations, some contests, competitions. So that's what we do to please him. And there are also partners that are just only interested in VIP tickets for the company's employees. So we offer them those options as well. And we also offer brand visibility. We can make the brand seen in the TV or by the attendant fans that come to the venue.
Justinas, what's your, as a Lithuanian basketball league, how do you create value for the partners, or what you can see the clubs are doing to create value for the partners?
So I do agree with my colleague. I mean, at the end of the day, actually, leagues, even though they patronize the clubs, and should take care of the clubs, but at the same time they're competing for the same money, which is a complete paradox. And in the perfect world that shouldn't happen, but it does happen. So we are in the sports ecosystem. We are placed in the position to maneuver between taking care of from the league's perspective, taking care of the clubs, but at the same time not taking away potential, sponsor money or just finance from those clubs. But what we do basically is our biggest value proposition is revolving around media rights. So we do consolidate those media rights, and what we do is we try to differentiate those rights as much as possible. And by differentiation, I mean offer those media rights, offer TV broadcasts, just to be very specific, by geographic location. So, for example, in Lithuania, we sell those media rights to one TV channel, for example. In Germany, to another, et cetera, et cetera. So by location, also by ways of broadcasting, internet television, betting TV rights. Now what's, we see what's very, very demanded by the brands is actually the fast consumed content. So in the form of highlights. So we do have, the rights of highlights to ourselves. Fortunately enough, we haven't sold them to any of the televisions. So we are able to, monetize those on top. And those highlights are being eaten by not necessarily direct media outlets. They could be eaten by whatever, Tinder, for example. Or maybe in the future, Microsoft Excel. I wouldn't be surprised if, you're working on Excel and, something pops out and you can check, the highlights of your favorite sports or whatever. So we monetize on those highlights as well. So the biggest value proposition is media rights.
Victor, how do you create value for your partners in
maybe
in
there's
your
only
club?
one point I want to add, more reach and opportunity for the partners that they can communicate their advertising message with the club together, with the players together in another way. They can usually do that.
Okay. Do you have a big competition on your markets? I mean, sports is popular, different disciplines, different clubs, different leagues. So you have to somehow be better than the others. Yeah? So how do you do it?
I think everybody has different challenges, and in our case, it's that we are a big traditional club with a very big fan base, but we have 2, maybe 3 different generations from the people, and this is a big challenge. First of all, to keep, I would say, the older generation at the club, close to the club, but also win the new generation and the younger guys. And this is a tough challenge. For example, if you have a normal match report, it must be in 2 different ways. The older generation, they need all the details. But the younger generation, they need it in 2, 3, 4 sentences. It's the same from the highlights from a game. The older generation, you must do it in 2 ways. They need a 5-minute, 10-minute highlight show, and the younger guys, they watch it maybe 20, 25 seconds, and to put everything what is interesting in this 20, 25 seconds, and it's more about the sports, maybe for one generation, and this story what the players are telling, what the club is telling, to put this is the big challenge, and on that we are working also together with our partners. We have to understand what their needs, and also from the fans what they need, and all together we want to improve our brand and give the possibility also to the partners to improve their brands too.
Justinas, how do you convince partners that, I don't know, basketball is better than football, let's say, or whatever?
Oh, this is easy in Lithuania, because I was also discussing with the colleagues, basketball is like top 1, top 2, top 3, up to top 5 or even 7, sport in Lithuania. And then there's the rest of the sports. So to compete with other sports is pretty easy. Where we maneuver is actually competing with indirect competition. That's what we try to do with the clubs and not take away money from them. But what we identified quite recently, which is our biggest competition and what we really need to aim for, is actually the media agencies. So media agencies are actually our biggest competitors, because we set up the value proposition for our potential partners that are, big brands, having their own communication, marketing departments. But at the same time, they're working with media agencies, and they send those media proposals to media agencies for them to give the evaluation. And where the dilemma is that media agencies, they're very much disinterested in their clients that brands money to go to us, because then there's less for the media agency. Our most recent approach is actually to partner with media agencies. To, you know, when we organize events, to invite those media agencies, you know, to our events, to network with them, maybe even to partner with them on a business case, to give them our value propositions, to evaluate in order to see that it doesn't diverge too much from, you know, their understanding and their methodology of the calculation of, you know, TV seconds, they're worth this and that at this point of time, and et cetera, et cetera. So our biggest competitor right now, I would say, are media agencies, but we try to, you know, solve that.
Very interesting. And Cole, Vladislav, your situation is different than Viktor, than Justinas, excuse me, because obviously hockey is important, a popular sport in Czech, but you have to compete with football. So how do you convince partners that the club is better than Sparta Praga, for example?
I mean, it's important to understand that we are from a very specific region and we are the biggest sport club in the region.
Okay.
So that's a pretty easy answer for that. Just we don't need to compete with other sports because we are the biggest club in, like, I don't know, 60 kilometers radius. So I would say for the local partners, we just don't need to compete. They just come to us if they want to, I don't know, the tickets, the brand visibility, and they think we are a perfect link for them. And if there's some competition on the national side, we just try to evaluate on the qualities we have. We are a traditional club with a rich history, so we have a lot of legends, club legends. So that's the people that can persuade potential partners to come to our club.
I'd like to come back to the point that which Viktor put on the table. I mean, fans or supporters, different age, have different needs. We see that they consume content in TV as well in different way. What does it mean for the sports organization, for the sports club? How do you have to, I don't know, try to answer, or maybe you have to just skip one of the group and saying, okay, we are a club for the oldest and we don't care about the youngsters, or we are the club for the young hipsters, we don't care about the grandfathers or mothers.
So definitely there is segmentation. The same thing with you know, the media product that we produce. So just to give you a small background, we produce all of the games throughout the season that we have. So we have around 250 games that are being played throughout the season, and all of those games are being, I mean, you know, filmed and put on television. So it's either the linear television, for which the production is more expensive, of course, or the internet television. So all of those games can be accessed. But it's a very good question, because we do see the trend that a 2-hour, 2.5-hour content is not very much relevant for the young generation. So this is the reason why we invested quite heavily since a couple of years ago into producing highlights. And you might have seen the NBA highlights that are revolving around the social media on Instagram. You know, the dunks and the best shots, etc., etc. So all of those highlights that you see are actually automatically clipped. They are, you know, taken out automatically from analyzing the TV video stream and matching that with the, you know, live statistics. And according to the preset rules, those highlights are being pushed to the social media. And that was the beauty of the NBA management, that, you know, the management decided to free up the rights for those highlights and to allow the users to freely share those highlights. So that happened around 8 years ago. You know, like usual, things, they reach us later a little bit. So after 6 years, so 2 years ago, this idea came to Lithuania, Lithuanian Basketball League. We took up the very same technology in order to push those highlights. So that technology allows us to cut the game into up to 500 different episodes, whichever you want. For example, steal by one player during the first 2 minutes of the first quarter. So the algorithm analyzes. If it finds that it's true, it happened, it cuts the highlight, it pushes it to whichever channel you want. So this helps us to increase the social media viewership, which is directly related to the younger generation that we try to reach. So this is how we segmentize.
But still, it means like less time for advertisement, less time for the partners, because if highlights last for 3 minutes or 2, you have like...
Maybe not necessarily less, but we have to be creative in terms of thinking of how to include, that advertising within those highlights. So it's either, splashing up a logo on that highlight, on that 10-second highlight, or putting up an after roll, for example, of the, sponsor of 2 seconds. So there are, other ways of creating value for the partners as well. We're not yet losing the visibility, the viewership of the older, segment that is watching on linear TV, the entire product of 2.5 hours. But I'm pretty sure we will reach this stage because everyone wants to consume fast. There's so much information, so we will not be able to live up to that 2.5 hour standard anymore. But that's okay. I mean, we're preparing ourselves for this challenge, by investing in specific technology.
Vladislav, do you see the different needs of different generation as a challenge, and how do you overcome this challenge?
Yes, it's a big challenge for us because, as I said, we are a traditional club, and we have older generation that remembers the times we had a lot of NHL players playing in the team. These are huge names known in the world, and we are kind of struggling, to be honest, to bring a younger audience to the club. But we are trying to segment the market, and we are focusing different things on the different groups. And the challenge for us now is to bring younger people to the stadium. We are trying to do school events when we are giving free tickets to the schools. We are trying to induce influencers on TikTok, on YouTube, just to try and promote the club for the younger audience.
Viktor, your best practices of keeping youngsters to your club?
I think this digitalization is for each company a very big and very interesting thing, and for us, like I said before, we have also think in 2 different ways. We have in our arena for a season we sell around about 9,000 season tickets, and from that the owners from the season tickets have an average age between 55 and 65. That are not always the people who are also in the arena. But we started now with digital tickets, for example. It was a big topic for us, also for the people. And I was surprised, first of all, 40% took this digital ticket. It was more than we thought in the beginning. But we have also to keep the normal printed tickets still. We send letters. Yeah? But on the other side, we also have parking tickets that you can put in the wallet, that you can digital, you can send it to your friends, digital. But we must not forget all the other people who have problems to follow, and then to show them the ways to it. And we have also employees in our office who are the whole day on the phone explaining how to create a mail account, how to download the tickets and so on. But it's a way, and it's also maybe we are here again in 5 years, and I can say it's not 40%, maybe it's 95, 98%. I don't know. That is what we think. That is the future. But like I said, we should not forget that we also have fans who has problems to follow.
May I support the colleagues? Coming back to the question, also according to some of the research, basketball is the only sport, team sport in the world where the audience is getting younger. And my input about those highlights is actually is related to this fact very heavily, because what the clubs do is fantastic, but I really believe that the effort to reach that younger generation, younger audience, has to come from the league initiative as well as from the federation initiative itself. Because the moment the NBA released those highlights was the reason that younger people consume this content, and maybe that short highlight of a dunk of a LeBron James will lead the young person to turn on the 2-hour broadcast. So this is fantastic. I mean, the club efforts are magnificent, but for the real impact, I would encourage the leagues and federations to take action to engage the young people.
Do you see another challenge? Because when I was young, it was obvious for me that I was supporting the club from my city. It was like, you can't support any other club. But the youngsters, they are like more global. They think like open, so they can, let's talk about football, for example. Someone from Poznan, from here, can easily be a fan of Real Madrid or Barcelona. Do you see this challenge on the market, that this local commitment to the club is not any longer, the connection is not so strong any longer? How do you see it?
I mean, it depends. It depends on the kids themselves. I mean, we have whole families that are coming to our matches for generations. And there's granddad, then there's dad, and then there's the child. So, I mean, the whole family comes. But there are also younger people that can support, in example, hockey in Prague, because they in example, won the last title. So they see the achievement, see the gold, and they just want to support the more famous and more successful club.
Justinas, it's easy for you because everyone loves basketball in Lithuania, but let's talk about football, for example. It might be difficult for a football club from Lithuania to convince fans that you should support us, not Liverpool, Manchester City, whatever.
I agree completely. But the thing is that Lithuanian football, it doesn't show the Lithuanian football athletes. So this is why Lewandowski's and Ronaldo's and Messi's are dominating. The same thing with the NBA. Steph Curry, if you know this guy. Steph Curry, small guy, good three-point shooter. He's like us. He's even shorter than me, actually. So if you see him walking right here, you wouldn't even recognize that he's a super magnificent athlete. But what NBA did and the team did is actually market him. So by showing his, highlights, by putting him into, community work, whatever. So, I mean, we have to show our athletes. We have magnificent people everywhere in every local market. And in order to, market those, we have to think of the storyline and, how to push that legend, that story about that specific athlete. And if he plays or she plays basketball, football, or whichever sport well, that's even better. That's easier.
Yeah. Viktor, last word from you. Do you see globalization as a challenge for your club? Has obviously long legacy, so it's a handicap, but will it last for long?
For us, I think in our city we will never lose one kid to another handball club. But what we feel is, for example, if we get a player from Norway or from another country, that the interest in this country is getting bigger and bigger for our club. Maybe the player is moving to another club, but to keep these guys, this is then the next thing. We see it from the merchandising and so on, where you sell your jerseys, where you sell merchandise things, and so to get bigger and bigger, not only in your country, in whole Europe, that's a big challenge. And there are some ways. I think we have not so much time now to talk about this, but we are also with handball that you have it local in some cities. It's traditional, and the kids are growing up with this. But there are a lot of cities and a lot of regions, also in Europe, where the kids have no contact to handball. Also from people who are coming from other countries, to Germany, for example. The kids, the parents, they don't know handball from their own country. And to show them this is a good sport where It's good to bring your son or your daughter there, and these are the things and our responsibility to show this in a good way, our values, what we talked about, and never forget that success in sports is always the best, and so we are attractive for everybody, and also we should work on that.
True. Thank you very much, guys, for sharing with us your experience from different markets. Really, really valuable. Thank you very much for a lovely discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Proszę o
Thank you very
brawa.
much.